The bells of a quiet parish church tolled solemnly on Sunday morning as the family of Jay Slater, the 19-year-old apprentice bricklayer whose disappearance in Tenerife gripped the nation, were seen in public for the first time since his body was recovered in the rugged mountain terrain of Masca. Their appearance was marked by raw grief, dignity, and the weight of a tragedy that has left many unanswered questions. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. A family in mourning. For weeks, Jay's loved ones had lived in a suspended state of hope and despair. His sudden disappearance during a holiday with friends spiraled into one of the most extensive search operations ever mounted on the island. And now, with his body finally returned, the family faces the devastating reality that their son, brother, and friend will not walk back through their door. Dressed in black, heads bowed, the Slater family arrived quietly at the modest church in their Lancashire hometown. Debbie Duncan, Jay's mother, clutched a small framed photograph of her son, a candid shot of Jay smiling, his trademark baseball cap tilted back. Flanked by close relatives, she leaned heavily on the support of Jay's father and his older brother, their steps slow, deliberate, as though each movement bore the weight of unbearable sorrow. "It's the first time we've seen them since the news," one family friend whispered outside. "They're absolutely heartbroken, but they wanted to come together in prayer. They said Jay deserved that." The church gathering. Inside, the atmosphere was one of reverence and reflection. The family sat near the front pew, surrounded by friends, neighbors, and members of their tight-knit community who had followed every twist and turn of Jay's story. Candles flickered in silence, each flame a symbol of memory, each one casting soft light across tear-streaked faces. The vicar, who had known the Slater family for years, spoke with tenderness. "We gather today not only in grief, but in love. Jay's life, though cut heartbreakingly short, was a life filled with laughter, kindness, and promise. His light remains with us." As he spoke, Debbie closed her eyes, her fingers brushing against the silver cross that hung at her neck. For a moment, the only sound in the church was the echo of distant bells and the muffled sobs of family members. A symbolic return. The family's decision to attend church together was not merely an act of tradition, but of symbolism. For weeks, the search in Tenerife had been accompanied by vigils back home, with locals lighting candles and offering prayers for Jay's safe return. Now, with his body recovered, the family wanted to express gratitude for the support they had received, even as they faced the sharpest edge of grief. Outside, dozens of community members lined the churchyard. Some brought flowers, others held small cards with Jay's name written in bold letters, surrounded by heart. A large banner, created by his football mates, hung near the church gate, "Forever our brother, forever our teammate." Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. One of Jay's closest friends, speaking quietly after the service, shared, "We all grew up together. He wasn't just a mate, he was family." Seeing his mom and dad today, it hit us hard. But it was also a reminder of how much he was loved. Jay's name will never be forgotten. A nation watching. Jay's case had captured the attention of the British public from the moment news broke of his disappearance. For days, headlines speculated on what might have happened, while search teams battled dangerous terrain in Tenerife. When confirmation came that his body had been found, the shock reverberated far beyond his hometown. Now, the image of his grieving family entering their local church will no doubt become another symbol of this tragedy, an echo of the public's collective heartbreak. Messages of condolence have poured in from across the UK and even from strangers abroad who followed the case. Social media, which had once been filled with desperate appeals for help in the search, is now filled with tributes, collages, and heartfelt words of remembrance. Grief made public. Though grief is personal, the Slater family's pain has unfolded under a national spotlight. At the church gathering, however, there was a clear attempt to carve out a space for privacy. Reporters and onlookers stood respectfully at a distance, while volunteers gently guided the family through side entrances to avoid intrusion. Yet, as one family member later admitted, there was comfort in not grieving alone. "We know the world has been watching," she said. And while it's overwhelming at times, it also means Jay's story mattered. People cared. They prayed, they searched, they hoped with us. That gives us some strength. Remembering Jay. In the hours after the gathering, stories about Jay began to circulate once more, not about the tragedy, but about the boy himself. His uncle recalled Jay's cheeky grin, his habit of blasting music too loud in the car, and the way he always volunteered to help on building projects, even when he was still learning. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. He wasn't perfect, no teenager is, his uncle said with a sad smile. But he had this way of making everyone laugh, even on the worst days. That's what I'll hold on to. His football coach added, he had talent, but more than that, he had heart. On the pitch, he gave everything. Off the pitch, he was the life of the team. We've lost more than a player, we've lost a spirit. A family united in silence. After the service, the family remained seated in the church long after most had left, holding hands and leaning into one another's shoulders. The silence between them was heavy but unbroken, a shared language of grief that needed no words. When they finally emerged into the afternoon light, the crowd outside broke into spontaneous applause, not the loud cheer of celebration, but a soft, respectful gesture of solidarity. Debbie paused at the steps, looking out across the faces before her. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "Thank you." Looking ahead. While Sunday's gathering marked the family's first public appearance since Jay's body was found, it also signaled the beginning of a long journey ahead. Plans for his funeral are underway, though the family has asked for space and privacy until they are ready to share details. The church service, small and intimate though it was, offered a glimpse of how Jay will be remembered, not only as a young man lost too soon, but as a beacon of love for his family and community. The vicar's closing words echoed as mourners left the churchyard. Though his journey on this earth has ended, Jay's spirit remains in every heart he touched. May we carry that spirit forward, even in our grief. An end and a beginning. For the Slater family, Sunday's church gathering was both an end and a beginning. An end to weeks of desperate searching, unanswered questions, and unbearable waiting. A beginning of the hardest chapter of all, learning to live without Jay. But surrounded by the love of their community, they took their first public steps into that new reality, not alone, but together, hand in hand, hearts forever tied to the boy they loved. And as the final candle flickered inside the church, its light seemed to carry one message above all. Jay Slater's story may have ended in tragedy, but his memory will burn on. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.